Hey folks, Patrick here, and today we are going to demo Chainguard Libraries for Python. So in this video, we are going to set up your workstation to download from the Chainguard Libraries index, download some wheels and dig into them. We are going to build a simple test application, and we are going to verify that that application is running in a virtual environment based on Chainguard Libraries. Chainguard Libraries is Chainguard taking source code from public indexes like PyPI, Maven Central, grabbing that source, ingesting it into the Chainguard factory, rebuilding all those packages from scratch. And now, why would you want this? Why can't you just use Maven Central? Why can't you just use PyPI? Why can't you just use NPM? The short version is that if you use Chainguard libraries, you'll be protected from malware or any supply chain attack that takes place in the build or distribution stages. If say an upstream maintainer's CI/CD, their distribution page, their build system is compromised, then you, a user of Chainguard libraries, you won't be affected. Now, what kind of attacks would this protect you against? In the Python ecosystem, a few examples are the Ultralytics YOLO attack that took place in December 2024. Also, the PyTorch dependency confusion attack that took place in 2023. In the JavaScript ecosystem, I'm sure many of you have heard of the Shai-Hulud attacks. Over 48 hours, over 750 GitHub tokens were compromised just over that short period of time. So it was one of the most enormous supply chain attacks of all time. So let's go into demo mode here and start building with Chainguard libraries for Python. All right, so we're in demo mode here. I'm going to show you what's in this little test projects directory. It's very minimal. So we have a little application, app.py. I'll cat that now. It's a Flask application. It just shows one line. We have a requirements.txt file, and we have a Docker file. First, on this workstation, if I were to pip install right now, it would install from PyPI, okay? So we're first gonna set up our workstation to install from Chainguard libraries, and then I am going to run a verify command that'll show that anything we download is actually coming from Chainguard as opposed to PyPI. I'm gonna create a virtual environment, called venv. And then I'm going to go to the .pip directory, and I will copy over a configuration file to now point us from PyPI, which is the default, to Chainguard libraries, our index. So I'm going to go back to our project directory. And now, if we pip install, it should install from our Chainguard libraries index. So let's activate the virtual environment. The first thing we should do is take a look at this venv that we've already created and see how much Chainguard libraries is it going to be. Probably 0% because we haven't actually done anything yet. So let's do our chain ctl libraries verify, and we'll point it at our virtual environment, and it says 0%. And overwrite the pip install. The only package installed in this virtual environment right now is pip. So we're actually going to go ahead and overwrite that now. Pip install force reinstall flag, and then pip. So we're going to overwrite the pip that exists now in this virtual environment. Successfully installed, and now we will run our verify command again. And we're now at 100%. So we're at 100% now, but the only package that is installed is pip. That's not going to do us much good. So let's go ahead and install from our requirements file. And this should install pip, Flask and its dependencies, as well as G-Unicorn, Green Unicorn, the server. So once that's installed, we will run our app.py and see if it works. That should now be running with Chainguard libraries. Python app.py. So we'll run Python app.py. That should run this little Flask application. And if we open Google Chrome and go to local host 5,000, then we see Linky is best. Now, going back into the command line, we can take a look at this virtual environment and do our chain ctl verify command again. And we're still at 100%. So even now Flask is running, Flask is installed in its dependencies, Green Unicorn is installed in its dependencies, and we're still at 100% coverage. So before we move on to containerizing this application using a virtual environment sourced from Chainguard Libraries, let's just do something kind of fun here. And we will make a new folder, Flask download. So I'm just going to download the wheels for Flask directly from our Chainguard index, pip download Flask, put it in a new folder just to avoid clutter. So we downloaded all of them. So this is Flask and its dependencies. We're going to unzip it. Just call the directory we're unzipping to Flask. Okay, should have unpacked. CD into it. So now we're in the unzipped wheel and going to dig in here and go take a quick look at the SBOMs. Yes, here we go, the SBOMs. And now here's the SBOM. So you can actually look at the provenance of this. You can see it's built by Chainguard. And we can also see directly where the source was taken from PyPI, the commit. And so you can actually go and look exactly where this is built from. So I think that's very cool. Okay, so far we have been building and testing things out just in our bare workstation just to see how things work. But let's go ahead and run the app in a container and show how we would pull in Chainguard libraries in a Docker file. We'll take a quick look at this Docker file that I have here, kind of walk you through it. So this is our simple application that runs that one line, Linky is best. And it is a multi-stage Docker build. It builds the virtual environment in a development container and then copies it over to our hardened runtime container. Now, the different thing here is this mount part here. And this is part that will actually pull from Chainguard Lib, update the configuration within the container to pull from Chainguard libraries. So basically what this does is uses secrets. So you could use AWS, G-Cloud, whatever Kubernetes secrets, and then use that to pull in the credentials and then set it up so that pip uses the pip.conf pulled in from the secrets. So let's go ahead and do the build now. So we'll do Docker build from this folder, the default Docker file. We'll call it libraries Flask. That's the tag. Now we need to provide a secret. So we'll do ID equals pip underscore conf. And then our source for that is going to be our home directory. .pip, that directory that we were showing before, and then pip.conf that we have in there. Okay, let's go ahead and do the build. That was cached, so we actually kind of want to see the full version, so let's do no cache. We'll have a nice long build. And then let's go ahead and run it. Docker run interactive port 8000 map to 8000 and libraries Flask. It's running. Let's go check local host 8000. And there's our application. All right, so that's kind of been our whirlwind tour of Chainguard libraries for Python. I'm very excited about it. I think it has a lot of potential to protect organizations from supply chain attacks, which are on the rise. So if you want your organization to be on that list, if you don't want to be affected by the next big Shai Halud, check out Chainguard libraries.